Sugar trying to play me, and now they hate me. Now when I come around, got them screaming, oh she fame me. When I turn around, got them clicking, trying to paste me. Better pipe down before it get Macy. What's up, my parties, my lovelies? How you doing? How you feeling? Welcome to the motherfucking His House. If you're not part of the His House, that's okay. Welcome. All right. So we're going to talk about dreams because we all go to sleep at night. And I didn't always know something about dreams. So now that I'm older, I might as well share with the His House. Okay. And if you feel free to join, that's cool. If you like any parts, that's great. Okay. Now, when I was younger, I had more dreams than when I was older. Then my dreams just kind of like disappeared. And I was like, where they go? Where they go? Where they at? Where they go? Where they at? Hey, hey, hey. But then they popped back up again. But it was like, I admit, we pay attention to your dreams if you have weird dreams, because usually there's maybe something weird going on, okay? I used to have weird dreams when I was younger. As I got an adult, I used to have more sophisticated dreams to where they would be warnings or premonitions of like what's to come, let me know who to watch out for in my life. So I wanted you to pay attention to those dreams because in my older age, I stopped having dreams, or I rarely had dreams. So I knew to pay attention to the dreams that I was having. Right. So I'm going to kind of get into that. So maybe you'll know what to pay attention to if you are dreaming, because your dreams definitely mean something, especially if you don't normally remember dreams. Definitely pay attention to those dreams that you do remember, because usually there is a message to the madness. Okay. And some of that stuff could save your life or save you some time in general. Okay. So first of all, I'm not going to really be specific about my story, but I will be specific as I can, probably about one of your stories that you can relate to. Okay. So all right. So sometimes people dream about people passing and they visit them in their dream. A lot of times, if you don't know, when somebody passed, that's usually someone in the spiritual realm. And dreams is a form of the spiritual realm. So if you are okay with them talking to you through the dream, sometimes they will send you a message. That's sometimes. So you'll know that they passed before they pass sometimes, because sometimes they'll just let you know in passing. Now, if you want them to continue to do that, you can let that be known, and and maybe they'll do that. But usually they don't want to do anything that scares you or anything like that. So if you get wigged out or scared, then usually it'll stop. If you want it to stop, you just gotta let it be known what your expectations are. Because some people are really weirded out by spiritual stuff overall. But we live in a spiritual world. That's why, Jesus came to the world to help people, that deal with spiritual warfare, spiritual things. So to act like it doesn't exist is beyond me and a little crazy, but it is what it is. Okay. And also another disclaimer before I continue. Everything I say is just my opinion. Okay. Alleged my opinion from what I know, what I experienced. To find out the true definition of what your personal dreams and things mean, you got to really just evaluate it very carefully. They also have books and informational pamphlets that you can read about in further detail about these things in further detail and find what the meaning is for you and your own personal situation. I'm just going to give a general situation and things that I've experienced in my own personal journey. So what you have experienced may not compare or be on the same sense of what I experienced, and that's okay. Now, a lot of times when I was going through what I was going through at first, I didn't understand it. Now, I will say this. You'll get a feeling either during your dream or after you dream your dream about what that dream is about. Don't overlook that. Don't be like, oh, I'm tripping. That's not nothing about what it's about. More than likely it is. So when you get a dream like that, get you paper, pencil. If you don't have a journal or whatever, write it down, because a lot of times you can forget it. But usually dreams like that are really important, you will remember them. For some odd reason, you will remember them because it's a reason for you to remember them. So a lot of times you won't, but just in case you do, it's best to write it down. If you're like, oh, I might need to write this down. If you get that feeling, that means write it down. Okay, so I remember I had, what was it? What was I saying? God dang. Okay, so if you have a dream about someone you know, definitely pay attention to those dreams, okay? Because we do live in a world that, despite the fact that we want to believe that everybody or is perfect, lovely, wants the best for you, it's not always the case. And in these cases, when you have dreams about people that you love and care for in your dream, it can be a warning to you to probably watch out for those people, or that they're sending you love, comfort, and peace. But it all depends, once again, like I said, the feeling that you get from the dream. Like if you feel like it's a bad feeling when you're around that person in the dream, then more than likely it's a bad feeling that you need to be aware of when you're around that person in real life. Despite the fact that they may be smiling in your face, acting like everything's cool, everything is normal, then don't entertain it, like that. Just be mindful, be cordial, be nice, but remember that feeling that you felt in that dream. Don't sleep on it, nothing. Now in my own personal situation, when I came on my spiritual journey, I found out witches and warlocks through my dreams. You've heard of the witching hour, which I think that says around 3:00. That stuff really does happen. Not saying that I actually saw broomsticks or anything like that, but I did have people attacking me in my dreams. And so I would get these warnings through my dream, because if you don't know, that's what the witching hour is. A lot of times people will come to you on a spiritual level and try to send certain things your way, whether negative or positive or whatever, to make you feel a certain way, do things a certain way, change the way you're currently doing a thing. Okay, so I really realized a lot of times the people that appear in your dream are spiritually inclined. A lot of the time, not all the time, because some of them, I can say, can be warnings, but a lot of times the people that appear in your dream are spiritually inclined, meaning they are aware of certain things. Some of them, allegedly, there's a way that people can send you messages through your dream. So if it's a way that, like I say, a person really wants to send you a personal message, whether to reach out to them, call them, sometimes you can find this out through your dreams, because you'll feel like you get a dream about calling them or wanting to see them. And sometimes that comes from them if you have not been previously thinking about that person. However, all the time you dream about a person doesn't mean they're a witch or a warlock. It doesn't necessarily mean that. Like I said, you really got to go by the feeling in the dream. If you feel threatened, if you feel vulnerable, you feel like you need to watch your back, then you definitely do that. But if you feel like, oh, this person is really loving, this person really cares for me, then you might want to feel that. Even though it's so crazy, I've had people impersonate people in my dreams as well. So that's another crazy part. Like, I don't know how that happened, but it's a person that dealt with a person that I had a little feelings for at the time. And the person, I'm thinking I'm communicating with the person, but the person that also liked them and was kind of dealing with them at the time pretended like they was that person to get information and get me to talk to them. Because that's one thing you need to worry about when you're talking in your dream. Just be careful because people that are inclined spiritually can actually get information through your dream. Like I said, that's like the witching hour, and they do some really crazy stuff that I'm not really sure about. I only seen a lot of clips and videos on about it. I really don't want to know how it's done, but just know if you find yourself talking to people, be careful, because a lot of times in your dream you're not physically talking, you're just observing, you're just watching. So if you're actually having conversations, you need to pay attention to that conversation. Write down and think about why you would be having that conversation, like who would want to know those things, or who would want the information from you. Because usually when you're having a conversation, somebody wants to either tell you something that you probably need to know, or they want to get information from you. Yes. Okay, so let's scratch that. Let's move on. And just like I said, just because somebody is just because you're dreaming about a person doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad person. And also, like I said, if you're thinking about a person over and over, sometimes you can dream about that person if you're constantly thinking about a person. However, sometimes if you're thinking constantly about a person, that doesn't mean that they didn't have something to do with it. Sometimes people want you to think about them, and sometimes they'll do things so you'll think about them and call them. I've had that happen too. And a lot of times I'll find out who's wanting me to talk about certain things, do certain things through my dreams. Okay. So let's say it's a guy that I'm interested in and he shows up in my dream and we're, talking, flirting, that, first of all, if you're doing anything beyond talking and flirting, you're attracted to a guy, it could be a spiritual spouse. So be careful. Those things do exist. So be careful. So I've heard, and I've even heard of stories. Well, we're going to skip past that right now. But, so like I said, people can impersonate people in their dreams. That's a real one. And they can really show up as anything that they want in a dream. So that's usually if you are getting conversations, but it doesn't have to be, But also they say do not eat or drink anything in your dream. But sometimes they can be in the spiritual world, bad coming to you. Somebody wishing bad. And if you accept it in the dream, it's like you're accepting that bad to happen in real life, or whatever they're putting in that food or that delicacy or whatever. So anytime you dream of food, remember who's serving it to you. And if you feel like it's that person, then it normally is. If you feel like it's not the person who's in the dream, then it's usually not. Because like I said, sometimes people will disguise themselves. But I've been aware of who's trying to do me harm through the dreams. Like when I see certain people doing certain things in the dream, I'll know who to watch out for, because usually they'll show up in my dream. Or I'll know who's trying to get me to call them or to think about me, because sometimes they'll show up in my dream. Now, like I said, it's usually the people who you're not thinking about. Now, you may be like, well, I do think about that person. But like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't have nothing to do with it. Because sometimes people can call you into their space too, because they want to talk to you badly. They think about you constantly, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything bad, because hey, when you want your crush to think about you. But what I'm saying is, just know if it pops up in your dream, it's usually because they're thinking about you more than often and want you to think about them. So just take note, especially of how you're feeling. Do you feel threatened? Do you feel like overwhelmed? Do you feel loved? Like I said, take consideration to the feelings that you have about the dream, because that's going to tell you a lot about the scenario of the dream. And technically, I used to ask other people about my dreams and say, what do you think this means? Or what do you think that means? Or what do you think? But in reality, I figured out what all of mine meant by just going within and analyzing and breaking it down. Like after I write it down, I'll usually come back with what I feel like it meant. Now, usually I would have it right away to where I don't have to write it down. So a lot of times, like I said, with your feelings, think about how you're feeling. You'll know if it's the actual person, if you should be aware of something, if you should be alarmed, if there's nothing to worry about, if someone is trying to put harm on you, whether you're cool with that person in real life or not. Like, you got to take these things seriously, because like I said, your spiritual Holy Spirit, right, wants to help you, and it's going to be able to decipher and discern those things that you physically can't see in the real world because somebody may be telling you a story. All right. So your dream or your Holy Spirit may manifest a dream to let you know that person's true intentions for you. So if you are thinking this person is a nice person, but your dream is something ugly and dark and sinister, take that into consideration. Don't be like, nah, this is crazy. I can't even trust my dreams anymore, because that person would never do that. That person would never say that. The person would never expect that or wish those bad things on me. Well, more than likely they would. So you might want to go with what your dream is saying opposed to what your mental clarity is saying. And I'm just saying that's that on that, because I really haven't been turned wrong on a lot of things. And like I said, it was part of my spiritual journey, and me getting these messages has really helped me depend more on my spiritual sense, and really just feeling like what I'm feeling and trying to decipher okay, what emotions am I getting? So I took what I've got from the spiritual sense to even my everyday sense. The feelings that I get around certain people, I take that into consideration despite what they're telling me. Oh, I love you, I care for you, I want to be with you. The same thing happens in real life too, has really happened with my trying to understand the dream world, because I'm able to see, okay, well, they're telling me one thing, but I'm getting this feeling that they're really telling me something else. And every time that I went with what my feelings about what they were saying usually came true. It's usually what happened. And so I feel like you getting in touch with anything on your spiritual side just gets you more and more aware of how to read the world around you, and gives you a more stronger sense on how to depend on yourself than other people or things to decipher how you move in life, whether it's move left, move right, move up, move down. Like, because at the end of the day, if you just had you, God, and the Holy Spirit, you're going to be good. So once again, enjoy your dreams. You can find out a lot of information about your dreams as far as who's interested in you, who you need to watch out for, and sometimes, of things to come. Or sometimes it'll be things that you need to heal. Like if I dream about something that's hurtful or I need to let go, sometimes that's something you need to heal and work on more in depth. So, and if you want more dreams or you want a specific dream, you can pray and ask for those things to happen, and maybe eventually those things will also start happening. So good luck on your dream side. Best of luck to you. Break to the dawn. We chrome, sitting on the dome. We home. DK, his house is on our zone. DK, his house, Pertion. Sipping on that pearly, white millet Merle. Sipping on that pearly, ooh, she dirty.